Welcome, tribe. I'm Blake. Today I got some really interesting topic we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the 3 keys to passion, managing conflicts, mindfulness in a relationship, twin flames, and things that are good to be mindful of if you're in a relationship with your twin flame. And then we're going to delve into some sex games to keep the spark alive in your relationship. So the 3 keys to passion is by Dr. Cheryl Fraser, and it is intimacy, thrill, and sensuality. Intimacy is physiological, it's emotional, it's connection, it's communication, it's the friendship aspect of a relationship, and this is where we're able to manage conflict. So, very important part. And a lot of relationships have a lot of intimacy, they don't really have the other two. The second one is thrill. This is the butterflies in your stomachs. This is the excitement. This is the laser focused interest you have in a partner. And this happens in the beginning of a relationship, but that seems to fall off a little bit. So we'll talk about how to keep that alive in your relationship. And then sensuality. This is the erotic, the passion, the physical touch, the making love aspect. So these are 3 key things to really keep in a relationship healthy in its totality, and when you balance these 3, you'll have a more meaningful relationship. So too much intimacy can kill a relationship. Delving too deep into emotions, communications, connection with your partner is good, but you want to bring balance to all 3. To be a genuine lover, you need to be the awakened lover and become aware of the intimacy, thrill, and excitement that you bring into your life. When things get rough in a relationship, people tend to be like, oh, this isn't going to work out. The thrill's gone. And you don't choose to be 100% committed to the lover anymore. So how do we work through these things? How do we keep all 3 of these alive and work things out together and really realize that when you're in a relationship, what you're trying to do is the end game. The end game is to feel so comfortable with your partner, with your mate, that you don't look for any of these things outside of your partner. If the intimacy is strong, you feel you can be open and connect and really be authentic with your partner and speak your true mind and be your true self around them. That level of comfort is awesome. If you have the thrill, when you're listening to your partner and being authentic, you're going to be looking them in the eyes and engaged and just really feeling them, feeling their emotions. What are they speaking? What are they saying? This is that deep emotional connection that we're truly craving for. And then there's the sensuality. Are you having good sex? Are you finding new ways of pushing the boundaries of making love? Is there passion in the way you speak to each other, the way you treat each other, those subtle little touches or smacks on the butt when you walk into the kitchen? These are important things in a relationship. We're going to spend a little time talking about how we can increase the intimacy by setting intentions and creating a stronger bond. So every morning when you wake up, to roll over, look into your partner's eyes and speak words of affirmation. Say, today is going to be an easy day at work for me. I'm going to manage my triggers and not overreact. And then have your partner look in your eyes and say, today you're going to have an easy day at work. You're going to manage your triggers and you're not going to overreact. And it reaffirms what you're feeling. These are beautiful ways of connection and also taking the intentions, which kind of sometimes go out in the ether, and grounding it. And that is done in a very intimate way with connection. And being in a relationship's like almost being in a business partner. You got to work at it. It's not just fun and games. It's not always going to be easy. There's rough times. There's difficult times you're going to have to deal with. So now we're getting into managing conflict. Do not try to manage conflict when you're hungry, when you're tired, agitated, just came home from work, not in a good mindset, pissed off because of the drive, having problems with the kids. You want to really take the moment to sit down calm, relax yourself, and be able to have these conversations. And that's not always easy. It's not always easy to find the time to manage conflict in a healthy way, but when you can, do so. I promise you the outcomes will be easier. You'll be able to authentically relate with one another. You'll be able to feel each other. The first 3 minutes usually of a conversation, it determines the outcome. So be very clear. Calm yourself down. Be ready to speak about something that might be difficult to bring up. And then say, I feel X about Y, and I need Z. So this is clarity of what you're needing. Make sure you have a good tone when you speak these things. And be mindful in your apology. So own it. Own where you are at, what you have done. And basically in a relationship, there's more than one. There's two people. There's the person apologizing and the person receiving it. So you make your apology, and then you tell them why you're apologizing and what you feel like you've done wrong. You ask them if you touched on the points that they felt like was needed to be said. Then you make a decision to do better. And this is like the engagement, which is really important, is the change, the development, the growth. And when this happens, it will really bring you two together. But what really grounds that in, the attention of, vowing to do better, is the next morning when you wake up, you speak it again. You say it was, I vow to, be more mindful when I'm speaking to your mom. And the next morning when you wake up, you look at your partner and be like, I'm going to call your mom today and speak to her. And that boom, that's action. That's taking steps to better. So it's really important to do that. It's grounding it. And then you have the receiver. So the receiver has to receive the person's apology if they're ready and speak their truth on how they felt and what they'd like to see differently changed. So those are very big parts of giving an apology and receiving an apology, and managing conflict, which could look in many different ways. Conflict can be even outside of the relationship that could cause issues inside the relationship. And it's good to have authentic relating practices, ways to really speak your truth. And you don't hold on to grudges. You want to let go. When you forgive someone, they say you're not forgiving them for them, you're forgiving it for you. You don't want to be carrying that around. There's a Buddhist philosophy of two monks that were in town, and one monk got yelled at by this man. And they started walking up the hill, and the other monk's like, man, I can't believe how that guy treated you. And the other Buddhist is like, well, if you're going to keep talking about it every time you mention the situation, mention that man, I want you to pick up a rock. Buddha didn't know what was going on, why he did that, but he picked up a rock anyway, and he stated what he felt. They go up the hill, and he speaks more about it. It's like, man, that person really treated you bad, it's really bothering me. Pick up another rock. So you see where this is going. And they start climbing up this hill, and the guy's like, man, I'm tired carrying all these rocks. He's like, can I put them down? He's like, put them down, because I put that situation down back in town. When you carry the pain, when you carry resentment, or carry the situation to be bigger than what it is that it hurt you, you're carrying rocks. You're making it heavier on you. You're changing your energetic level. So let that shit go. Is really important. And it's easier when you have a true apology, when you're able to really speak authentically and feel like you're heard. So now we're going to go into being mindful into a relationship. And this is beautiful. What we're doing is we're going to train our mind just like you could train your breath. And one of the ways to bring mindfulness into a relationship is to study the 5 love languages. That's a great way. You have the 5R, if you haven't read it: physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of services, and gifts. And if you don't know your love language, or you don't know your partner's love language, it's usually what you do or what they do the most is what their actual love language is. So when you do this, you actually start doing what you're showing your partner how they want to be loved. You're giving love to your partner in the way that they can receive it. If your love language is gifts, you might be giving gifts and they won't receive it well. Their love language might be quality time. So stop buying gifts, or buy a movie and sit down and watch a movie with your partner and spend quality time together. Go on a long walk and hold hands. Bring that, that sensuality into it. How do we keep the thrill in a relationship? Keeping the interest and curiosity alive. Think about the second morning you ever woke up with the woman that you love in bed. You remember that moment? You remember that butterfly effect, that excitement of how you felt? Now think about waking up next to that same person years later, 5 years, 10 years later. It's a little different. Maybe not as much thrill, not as excitement, there's not much new going on. In order to keep the thrill alive, you must be fully present in the moment, curious. Wake up and you look at the person in the bed next to you, breathing, and there's this curiosity. And how to keep that alive is a beautiful thing of self-practice that you could bring into a relationship. It will help you, it will help your relationship, and it will help them. And it's all along just makes for a better life. And so now we're going to get into twin flames and dating your twin flame. So if you're in a relationship with your twin flame, it is very, very important to practice non-attachment. This can save you from codependent relationships. So practice a non-attachment. This one is when people stay in their own energetic fields and are able to respect one another's energetic fields, opinions, and sovereignty. Some key things that you can do to make sure that you do not find yourself in a codependent relationship is having your own friend group that you spend time with. You could develop your own personality with these people, and community influences are really big. Having your own friend group or community circles that you're seen. This means that when you're able to be around a group of people and you're able to be seen, you're in your true authentic self. This is a major point of growth when you feel in this level of comfort. Being authentic around a bunch of people makes you feel safe, makes you feel happy, and it's expansive. And you're more likely to push your limits of yourself, of who you are, so you could reach these levels of self-growth. You're more likely to take financial risks, question some of your own beliefs, be curious instead of acting as if you already know. So those are really important. And so when you're with your partner or twin flame, you're able to be 100% yourself and your sovereignty while still having the desire to get to know your partner on a deeper level. And with the desire brings the passion that creates a bond between you and your twin flame. If you're not in your sovereignty when you're in your partnership with your twin flame, it can become a little bit of messy for both of you. The energies can split, and there's controlling aspects and jealousy, and there's red flags that come up. So it's important to look at these, not just to help one another grow, but also for the spiritual journey and become strong in a relationship, and try not to fall into routine. So that's what's really good about being your sovereignty, having your own friend groups. So authentic relating, reflective listening are also very strong tools for knowing the individual's ideals and morals and spiritual views of your partner or twin flame. Write down something powerful that is different, like different difficult questions to ask one another. It's a really powerful and expansive way to delve into each other's soul. This creates a safe place, easy place for both of you to better support one another. With authentic relating, when issues arise, we may already have a sense of the partner's morals, which can help us create a healthy situation to help them instead of having assumptions and judgments. So when your twin flame is feeling unsafe or secure, needs support, you might actually feel them. You'll feel that from them, and you'll come from an authentic place, and it will create that deeper sense of intimacy that really pushes you away from the stagnation that happens in relationship, because that's the growth, the expansionness. So also finding balance in your masculine and feminine is really important. When you find balance with your masculine and feminine, you are more likely to you're more into your intuition and connection in your own radical mind. You no longer look for a partner to fill that imbalance inside you. You have a better understanding of the opposite sex because you understand your own balance within you. There's no void to be filled. If you're a man that's not in tune with his feminine, you're going to look for a female to fill that void. So it's really important to find that balance inside you. You'll be able to determine which feelings are yours and which feelings are theirs. So this is really important when you come into balance. You'll be less reactive. But what really goes is deeper into the self, which is the true essence of the relationship. So what happens is you can only love someone as deep as you love yourself. And when you know yourself on the deeper level and love yourself, you have the love for your feminine side, for your masculine side. You understand your inner balance, and maybe even have met your inner child and did some inner child work. So when you're in this conversation, you're in a relationship with your twin flame and they're feeling something, you can determine if it's your feelings, you can determine if it's their feelings, and you can understand where it's coming from. Yeah, and that's really the true emphasis of standing in your totality and your authentic power. Healthy balance creates a healthy family system, and yeah, it's the first step to really being authentic and just loving in a relationship. It's beautiful. So if you haven't done the work for balance in inner masculine and feminine, is very powerful, and you could check out some of my other videos that I talk about it, so you could have a little better understanding. So twin flames are meant to really help each other ascend to a higher level of consciousness. To find a spiritual bond and ritual practices with your twin flame is the true essence of this relationship. When we meet our twin flame, is when we are ready to. So soul gazing or eye gazing with your twin flame, very powerful tool, because you're looking into the eyes of self-reflection because they're your twin. Having a spiritual bond gives you a deeper connection to the divine, which also creates a deeper connection to oneself as the divine, which is a form of self-love and relating to yourself and understanding your outside desires. Being connected to your twin flame on a spiritual ascension journey helps you raise your vibration. It accelerates the process of feeling deeper sense of connection to everything. Person, place, things, insect, air, wind, fire, earth. You understand that. It comes much deeper, and yeah, and that's the big part on twin flames. So now we're going to get into sex games and how we can take average basic sex and turn it into epic sex. That's what we all want. We want epic sex. This is a study done by Layla Martin. She wrote Wild Woman in the Bedroom. She wrote books on Tantra, and she is a sex coach. So how do we bring more epic sex into our life? There's bad sex, there's good sex, there's average sex, and then there's epic sex. The energy created right before sex is palpable and is equivalent to lightning right before a storm. So in order to have epic sex, we must first develop these tools. But epic sex is not for the faint of heart. It is for the bold and awakened lover that wants expansion and the poetic beauty of making love. Since our society is so sex driven, most people don't want to do the work. They feel like they just want sex. But there is really no difference between what we should be doing and learning the sexuality mastery that we can become and bring into our bedroom. But people really don't want to do the work. But when you do the work, there's a difference between having average sex and bringing the mastery of sexual experiences into the bedroom. Learning to be the master of sexual experiences is really exploring the edges of what sex can be. So let's learn how to create electrical and passionate, charismatic sex with your partner. And this could be done through sensations and breath work, which is really important, powerful, and can align you. Like the microcosmic orbit is a beautiful way to breathe with your partner that brings energy up into the third eye, down into the sacral, and back up, and create this orbit between you and your partner. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I speak a little bit about that on my Jedi Activation if you want to check out that video. So, in order to reach this, we need to rid ourselves of the sexual blockages so we can embrace our primal and instinctual sexual energy. We could use rituals, meditations to explore erotic knowledge and sacred sex. Bring in sacred play and fantasy into the bedroom, learning to push the boundaries, and exploring taboos. This means letting go of control and exploring the polarities to bring deeper intimacy and expanding our sexual experience. So let's look at sex as a dynamic space where we can explore the edges of our fears and our desires. So when we approach sex like this, our partner becomes a co-creator on a beautiful adventure that we get to go on together. This takes vulnerability to open up yourself and allow yourself to have massive, amazing orgasms. When you have a full body sensation and your body trembles with pleasure and you feel like you're drenched in love, that's what we're going for. That's what we want to experience. And a lot of us have not experienced it. So, are we ready to delve in? This is where things get juicy. And to talk a little bit to the guys listening, I know that it is not all about being a finely tuned sex machine, that we're not talking about that. It's not about how long you could perform. It's really about a deeper connection between you and your partner. And after studying yourself and practicing, you could have orgasms that could last up to an hour. Everyone loves when you're rock hard in the bedroom, and what is more important is a man who is fully present with his lover. This creates a beautiful sacred place where you could be completely open and vulnerable and step into your full sexual experience. And this could be a beautiful place for, releasing trauma as well. So one of the things that we do not want to do that is really something we don't want to bring in the bedroom, or what we want to be doing with sex, is we don't use masturbation to release tension or stress. That's not good. That's really bad. We don't want to put pressure on yourself or your partner to come to orgasm. Don't want to fall into routine. Got to switch it up, people. And being too much in your head and not in your body. That's really coming back to presence. So releasing trauma, if you've experienced trauma, whether it be sexual trauma or other things in your life, or you've just, watched porn, could be very traumatic. It changes your view on sex and stuff. You have blockages, and sex can help remove this or fall in love with yourself. In Tantra, I teach about eye gazing in the mirror with yourself, touching, caressing yourself in a sensual way, falling in love with the parts of yourself that we may not identify as the most beautiful. And we could start identifying and locating where these blockages are in our bodies. Ladies, your yoni is really a gateway to help remove these blockages. And you could do this a lot with somatic experiences, like shaking and like removing this stuff, yelling, whatever you're needing to do. And we start to break this up. And this could be done with a partner if you're really in a meaningful relationship where you can open up these things. This is why it's so important to create a safe place in the bedroom. Allow your partner to know themselves and let them know that this is a safe place where they can freak out or close down, shut down. Let them know that this is a place where they can go through this experience, is really holding space for the person you love. And when you move through this, I promise you, things will get much, much better in the bedroom, get much better in your relationship, because there's trust, there's healing, and healing brings such deep connection between people. So I believe it is really important to spend time in the bedroom before tapping into sex. Foreplay is extremely important. I wrote a blog on tantric sex, and foreplay, I think, is one of the key steps to really like opening up that gate. So it is important to tap into all six senses, awaken yourself, and connect to your partner, spending time eye gazing, honoring one another by putting your hands on the woman's sacral chakra and thanking her for being like the life-giving goddess that she is. Women, put your hand on your man's heart and speak to them. Thank you for the energy and the blood that you're pumping to perform before having sex. These are beautiful ways of delving in, and it is really heart bonding and connecting. So now we're going to get into some sex games. This is some beautiful things you could bring into your relationship to bring that sensuality and that thrill back into your relationship. One of them is penis massage. This can be done with oils, practice like touching around the area, and as the man, you want to just sit and receive it. Just receive it. Put on a blindfold and sit there and just feel it and feel the sensations, and guide your partner on how you want to be touched. Because if you spent the time touching yourself and loving yourself, you know what feels good, so it's easier to guide your partner. And then yoni massages and breast massages. So spend time touching and playing with your partner, and women guide your man or your partner in this experience, because this is beautiful. And then they learn how to touch you and what you like, and make sure you're using breath. Use words, use movement, move your body, let them know that that feels good, or that tickles. These are beautiful ways of expressing yourself and getting to know one another. So that's a beautiful thing that you could delve into. Another one is called sandboxing. This is cool because this is where we push the boundaries. This is where we get to be like a child again. So exploring each other's bodies and touching unique different places will help you understand these boundaries, what you do and do not like. And while doing it, it is important to, let them know what they're doing right for the receiver and what's going on. So just let the person receive, like I was saying. This is a little bit more deeper into, the yoni massages and the lingam massages. Things to bring into the bedroom: coconut oil, blindfold, feathers, essential oils, candles, a timer, leather whip, if you're into that. You choose who goes first. That person lays down, put on a blindfold. Invite them to feel every sensation as if they're feeling it for the first time. Set a timer for 20 minutes. It's a pretty good time. This is also important to ask your partner how it feels, if they like it harder, if they want it a little softer. Use a feather, and this can be really awesome. This develops a sense of what your partner likes, doesn't like. And as a recipient, all your job is to do is to give feedback, more or less. What you liked, what you didn't like, and this is something you could talk about afterwards. But what you're really doing is honoring one another. You can do this like all day or just before sex. It's beautiful to just spend a whole day honoring your lover, what they need, and it doesn't have to be intercourse. It could be bathing one another. It can be, waiting hands and foot on somebody, giving them a foot massage, speaking affirmations to them because they had a hard day. So those are beautiful things. The other one is wild animal play. So the first step is each take turns asking each other the following questions. What is your wildest desires? Give the person a good 5 minutes to repeat without interrupting. And then just listen. And at the end of the 5 minutes, switch and have them ask you the same question. Do some breathing techniques. So lay down in bed, breathing fully deep and wild. Breathe men into your penis. Women going to breathe down into their sacral chakras, and do this for 5 minutes. You can start making sounds, start being a little crazy, starting to get into it a little bit. Trust me on this one. This is really good. And then the next thing is we're going to go into animal mode. For 5 minutes, inhabit your animal's nature. Go nuts, wrestle, biting, clawing, bringing sounds, being silly. Yes, silliness, sacred silliness is amazing. Sex is not supposed to be so damn serious. So, give this a try. And then step 4 is make wild love. So another thing that's really important in these practices is that I think you spend some time afterwards talking to one another about how it was. Maybe even keeping a journal. You could quantify your sex life. You could quantify your relationship by keeping track of how things worked and what didn't work. So I hope some of these tips helped you, and I hope you find your twin flame, the love of your life, and that you are having a happy, healthy relationship with yourself, your partner, and the whole outside world. So thank you so much, Tribe, for listening. Namaste.